Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Here we go. Day 3 of live streaming from the Custer County Fairgrounds. Stocker Feeder Show time to get us started today. Got a full schedule again. Ending out with goats and dairy. This is Stocker Feeder Showmanship Senior. Only one group. 9 entries. Luke Coleman, Mia Copley, Jalen Young, Brennan Barron, Jack Barron, Caden Goodman, Kate Barron, Mace Barron, and Trip Oxford. All out there. Stocker Feeder Show, always entertaining to me because they're a little bit more feisty, much younger. Sometimes have a mind of their own. They want to do what they want to do. But also the kids are in really good control too because they're smaller. So that's always really entertaining as well. Nate Coulterman is back as the judge today. Again, we're in showmanship.
Custer Transfer Station Incorporated, Ranchland, Runza, Ansley Lumber, Aero Aviation Incorporated, Duff Livestock, Sargent Irrigation.
As we get started today, want to thank our wonderful Purple Ribbon sponsors, Custer Public Power District, Full Circle Irrigation, Moline Seed and Fence, Big Jim's Bar, Pioneer Seed, Pratt Irrigation, Lashley Land and Recreational Brokers, Trotter Service and Fertilizer in Broken Bow, Custer County Ag Society, C&M Auto of Broken Bow, Nebraska State Bank of Callaway Myrna in Broken Bow, Healing Hearts and Families, Sargent Irrigation, and Central Nebraska Diesel. We promised a lot of noise. Stocker Feeders is pretty noisy. And we're in Stocker Feeder Showmanship, senior showmanship that is. More about the showman rather than the animal. Being a good showman includes the control of the animal, but also the look of the animal in preparation for the show. And as you see now, the judge asking some questions and being able to answer those effectively as well. All a good part of being a showman, knowing your animal, showing off your animal, getting them in the correct placement. Because being a good showman will make the animal have the best chance at being judged well. So that's a very important part of the showing process. If the amount of sunlight could stay at this exact level throughout the day, that would be great. It's obviously going to get much brighter outside, which leads to the camera having a harder time adjusting throughout the day. But right now, things are looking really nice. That'll get more difficult through the day.
Second call, Stalker Feeder Showmanship Jr. Second call, Stalker Feeder Showmanship Jr.
And as we learned with this judge with showmanship yesterday, he doesn't pull anybody up in any particular order. To be pulled to the north side of the rail doesn't mean you're out of it, doesn't mean you're in any particular order. So he's now got them all pulled up there. See if there's any significance to the order. Hopefully the judge got his rest. Was out there all day yesterday judging. I know he'll appreciate the cooler temperature today.
Well, good morning. First class of showmanship out here, and what a beautiful day to do it. We went ahead, took the cattle through kind of the same process as yesterday, and I think it worked pretty well. The calves are obviously feeling pretty good this morning with the weather the way it is, and I think that certainly makes a difference. But I'm going to start on the far end. The young lady in the white shirt, she'll be our champion. Young man next to her be reserve. Great group of kids. Again, everybody, knows what's going on, and that helps. They came out here, brought their calves out, set them up. Some of them wanted to lead, some of them didn't, and I think you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt this time of year. It's still July, and these are babies, but they all did a nice job. The biggest thing, on a side note, on the showmanship part, if you ask a question, don't say I don't know. If the judge says, what's the sire, what's the dam, how's it bred, whatever, just, I don't know, so just go ahead and say something, so just keep that in mind. But really a good, solid group of showmen. The questions were good. Let's give them a round of applause. Congratulations.
Okay, so that was senior showmanship. Only one group of senior showmen. So that'll take us right into junior showmanship. Only 4 entries in junior showmanship.
As our senior stocker feeder showmen exit the arena, we'd like to thank Troy Walls for the sponsorship of the champion stocker feeder steer showmanship banner. Thank you, Troy. Second call, Stalker Feeder Steers Group 1, born January 1st to April 30th, 2025. Second call, Group 1, Stalker Feeder Steers, born January 1st to April 30th, 2025. First call, Group 2, Stalker Feeder Steers, born January 1st to April 30th, 2025. First call, Group 2, Stalker Feeder Steers, January 1st to April 30th, 2025. In Stocker Feeder Showmanship Senior, champion Stocker Feeder Showman went to Jalen Young. Reserve champion Stocker Feeder Steer Showman went to Mace Barron. Purple went to Caden Goodman. Blue went to Brennan Barron. Jack Barron. Maya Copley. Trip Oxford. Kate Barron. And Luke Coleman.
Again, this is junior Stocker Feeder Showmanship. Titus Coleman, Caden Miller, Parker Miller, and James Barron all out there. Just want to remind you folks, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube provides a much better viewing experience in a few different ways. And also we had a connectivity issue out of our control on Facebook yesterday. Happened once, it didn't happen again, but for some reason the Facebook stream did turn off at some point. So if that ever does happen, just check over on the YouTube page and we should be rolling there, but just want to make you aware of that. Again, out there right now, Titus Coleman, Caden and Parker Miller, and James Barron. While we have a moment, want to thank a few of our Purple Ribbon sponsors, including Nebraska State Bank, your local bank serving the area since 1918. With locations in Callaway, Myrna, and Broken Bow, they have your financial service needs covered. Stop by any location today to set up free checking for personal or business needs. Thank you as well to Healing Hearts and Families, where they work to educate the public by implementing outreach activities and public education programs to increase awareness of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and bullying. Donate to support them and attend their gala, which is coming up this fall.
2002 graduate of UNL, owner of Colt Cattle in Garland, Nebraska. Nate and his family own and operate Colt Cattle in Nebraska. They sell and exhibit livestock all across the country. They have several sales each year, which include all breeds of cattle. Nate has had the opportunity to judge numerous shows across the United States. He takes great pride in each opportunity he has to evaluate cattle and feels it's all part of being an ambassador for the youth and their programs.
Well, just 4 kids out here in the juniors, 4 boys, and they all did a really nice job. I'm really impressed with how these cattle are leading for the kids. You know, we've got probably 30 head broken at the house, and I can guarantee you that none of them would come out here and lead like this young man's red heifer, and that's really impressive. You know, in the feeder calf show, these calves are green. You guys are young. They're green to the whole process, and I think you guys have handled it really well. The questions were excellent, you know, and they knew their calf and they knew their birth dates and everything. But I really think this young man with the red heifer, he did an outstanding job from the second he came in the gate. I couldn't believe how this calf led around like it's a 2-year-old show heifer. He'll be our champion. And the young man next to him with the roan calf, you know, has done a nice job with the calf. He said it's been working on it for about a month, and that's impressive because, you know, these calves obviously are good to go, bulletproof in terms of attitude, and that's to your credit. Everybody did a great job. Let's give them a round of applause. Congratulations.
So your champion was James Barron. I want to make sure we get the right name for the reserve champion, so we'll just wait on that announcement. Stocker feeder steers, born January 1st to April 30th, 2025. That is up next. Brennan Barron, James Barron, Luke Coleman, Parker Miller, Jalen Young, and Caden Goodman. All in that gathering area you see there.
Champion Junior Stocker Feeder Showman went to James Barron. Reserve Champion Junior Stocker Feeder Showman went to Parker Miller. Purples went to Caden Miller. Titus Coleman.
That's a mouthful.
So here comes that first group of stocker feeder steers.
Second call, Stocker Feeder Steers, Group 2, born
Thank you to Sargent Irrigation, another of our Purple Ribbon sponsors. With 9 locations in Nebraska and Iowa, they offer well drilling and pumping services. Find them online or on Facebook. They're proud of the participants who work so hard for fair. And thank you as well to Central Nebraska Diesel. Renke is built durable and reliable. High-strength steel, superior engineering, and an industry-leading 10-year warranty on gearboxes. Contact Colton and find out for yourself at Central Nebraska Diesel. This is group 1 of 2, by the way. Six entries here, 5 in the next, and then we will determine a champion stocker feeder steer. So Jalen Young, first purple. Caden Goodman, second purple in this group. They'll come back to compete for overall a little bit later.
Really good class of steers here. I think a really good individual to start out. He's one that's, big-legged, obviously. Just got a lot of wow factor to him at a young age. March calf, about dead on where he should be in terms of his weight. He comes to us pretty green, so he's pretty honest. Just a really nice place to start. Gets a little trickier there in second. I felt like second and third were 2 cattle that kind of fit the mold of each other. Nice long steers. They're stout made. They're cattle that, with that extra length have some body. Both calves are real sound. Like those 2 awful lot. The red steer, I think, just gives up a little bit in terms of muscle to the black calf, but I think a really nice calf in his own right. Young man's Charlet steer, I think one that, comes out here. He's got a cool look to him. Just maybe not quite as neat and tidy through his chest area as what we see in the cattle ahead of him, but a calf that, is compact and got a good look and got some meat and muscle down his top at a young age. Again, comes to us green, which is good. I think that one's got a bright future as well. young man's roan calf. I think one that, is just a good feeding kind of a calf. One that, you'd maybe like to get him to pick his head up a little bit out of the way he comes out of his shoulder. But a really nice steer that's got a lot of body. We wind up the class with a calf that I think has the ability to feed and put it on. A really smooth made, good looking calf that's good in a lot of different ways. Congratulations.
Okay, so again, first purple went to Jalen Young, second purple to Caden Goodman. They will come back and compete against the top purples from this group coming in: Jack Barron, Kate Barron, Mace Barron, Mia Copley, and Caden Miller. After we wrap up the Stalker feeder steers, we would go to Stalker feeder heifers, where we've got two groups. And then best of three Stalker feeders after that. To round out the 4-H Stalker feeder show, they did make an announcement before we went on the air. There are not any Stalker feeders this year in the FFA side. Got Mia Copley on the right. Caden Miller to the left on your screen. Kate Barron now just off of the screen. They're all kind of moving around on me. Okay, so I think Caden Miller was first purple. And looks like maybe Kate Barron second purple.
Really an interesting class here, and I think, there's some give and take up here on top, as there usually is. You went ahead and started out with what I feel is probably the most complete calf out here. He's one that, certainly has the most body at a young age, calf that it's got enough muscle. You could maybe trick him out a little bit, give him a little more bone, give him a little more width when he travels, but I think an awful safe, secure kind of a steer there to start out with. Young lady steering second, I think, is one of the bigger bone cattle in the class. He's one that, hasn't quite filled out yet, or whatever you want to call it, but he's definitely the biggest hind-ended calf out here, and I think, just a nice feeding kind of a project for the young lady. The yellow calf, I felt like when he walked in the ring, he was the one. He's not wanting to cooperate here today for the young lady, and that's too bad, because that's an awful good calf. It just takes away from his appearance when he's out here fighting the halter. Doesn't want to get coordinated on the move or when he's standing, but that's a big bone, big-legged, big-featured kind of a calf like we saw in the first class, just not quite as filled out yet in his stage of the game. Wind up the class with two really nice feeding kind of calves. They're stout-made, stout-featured, like the body in both those calves. Just like to see a little more of them here today. Congratulations.
Okay, so again, first purples from the two stocker feeder steer groups, Jalen Young and Caden Miller. Second purples, Caden Goodman and Kate Barron. It's now time for the championship drive of stocker feeder steers. They'll come back out and we'll determine a champion and a reserve champion. Again, your first purples are on the bottom, second purples to the top. We'll hear from the judge.
Really a good set of steers out here this morning. Let's give these kids a round of applause. We got into some of those classes, the two classes, and there was some give and take from top to bottom, but I think when you get back out here, there's four really, really good steers, I think, that have bright futures here in Custer County and beyond, depending on what they're going to do with them, sell them or show them next year. It's a neat project, and you guys are way ahead of the game in having them broke, that's for sure. I feel like there's one calf that just obviously stood out. I think he's one that, has all the extras that we saw yesterday in the Fat Steer Show and that got along with that fashion. Cattle the calf's really stout. He's really big boned. You really have to appreciate him for a lot of things. I think he's got a bright future. Then it gets a little closer, I feel, for reserve. I think there's 2 cattle probably in contention, the class winner and the second out of that class. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep that class together. So you'll be champion, you'll be reserve. Congratulations.
So champion Jalen Young and reserve champion Caden Goodman in stocker feeder steers.
Champion stocker feeder steer with Jalen Young. Reserve champion stocker feeder steer with Caden Goodman. Second call, Group 2, stocker feeder Heifers. January.
So here comes our first group of 2 stocker feeder heifers. Brennan Barron, James Barron, Titus Coleman, and Trip Oxford.
First call, best of 3 stocker feeders. Please note there will not be a break between stocker feeders and breeding heifers. Please note there will not be a break between stocker feeders and breeding heifers.
While the judge is looking over this first group of stocker feeder heifers, we want to thank C&M Auto of Broken Bow. From routine maintenance to major repairs of gas and diesel vehicles, they have you covered using the latest diagnostics to find the problem. They have competitive rates and offer 24-hour service to serve you. And thank you as well to the host of the Custer County Fair, the Custer County Ag Society. They welcome you to the fair Make sure you look at the calendar of events at custercountyfair.org. You won't want to miss out on what's coming up, and there are some awesome things happening here at the fairground for you to check out. Thank you as well to Trotter Service and Fertilizer of Broken Bow. Whether you're visiting Trotter Service, Trotter Fertilizer, or one of the many Trotter Swoll and Goes, they've enjoyed serving you and Central Nebraska since 1962. Thank you to them for their support of 4-H and FFA programs and our broadcast here from the Custer County Fair 2025. And thank you to Lashley Land and Recreational Brokers. From agricultural land, hunting, and recreational land to residential and commercial properties, they can help you purchase or sell the perfect property. I think the judge lost his batteries on his microphone.
We'll go ahead and give 2 purples out here in this class. I think I started out with the shorthorn heifer, and I feel like she's probably the stoutest female from one end to the other. She's maybe not as long as the other cattle, but I think one that, when you get behind her, you can see she's got some power, and you get to studying her from the side. She's got the most genuine belly line out here at the moment. I think, all these calves come to us pretty green, but that heifer just kind of puts it all together. Change her, sure, you could change her. She could use a shot of bone, but I think that'll come with time. Really a nice, fancy kind of a heifer to start out. Young man's red heifer, I feel like, is really long, really good in her lines. A heifer that gets out and goes when you ask her to go. Young man does a great job showing that heifer, and I think that adds to it. Just like to get her to relax in her top line ever so slightly, but I think a really nice prospect there as well. Young man's a solid black heifer, one that comes out here. Maybe like to change her from her hooks to her pins to get her. If you do that, she goes up a notch. But I think a really stout, cool-made kind of a heifer there. Wind up the class with a bigger frame, shorthorn plus kind of a heifer that's got good lines, good size, good bone. Just like to see more of her. Big skeleton heifer that just needs a little more power to move up any higher. Congratulations.
That'll bring out Group 2 of Stocker Feeder Heifers. Jack Barron, Kate Barron, Mia Copley, Trip Oxford, and Jalen Young.
In Group 1 of Stocker Feeder Heifers, purples went to Trip Oxford, James Barron. Blues went to Brennan Barron and Titus Holman.
So we'll see Trip Oxford and James Barron back out here in a little while to compete against the first 2 purples from this group of Stocker Feeder Heifers currently on your screen.
First call, breeding heifers, Black Angus heifer yearling heifers, calved August 1st to December 31st, 2023. First call, breeding heifers, Black Angus heifers, yearling heifers, calved August 1st to December 31st, 2023.
Really a nice class heifers out here again. You know, there's some differences up here. I think it gets pretty close between this pair. Went ahead and started out with the young lady's black heifer. I just feel like she's just maybe a little more comfortable when she wants to travel. Heifer that, you know, could sure use a little more groceries here today. But at a young age, that heifer is really crisp in her lines. I really like the way she handles her top in comparison to our second place heifer. I think she's a female that's a little neater fronted and plenty stout when you get behind her. Young lady's heifer, black and white heifer here in second, I think is one that, you know, obviously has a ton of muscle and a ton of good about her. She's one that is just wanting to fight, and it takes away from her structure. And I think, you know, if you get to studying her, if you see her out in the pasture, you really grab a hold of that heifer. Out here in the ring, just like to see her relax and change. That would change her top and the way she handles her loin there at times. But two really nice heifers here to start out. Young man's little roan heifer, I think, is one that comes out here super green, super small, but in a compact package, has all the parts, pieces and parts to go on and make a heck of a show heifer. Young man's black heifer, I felt like, was one that just had a little more body and length. A really nice heifer, just like to clean her up in her front end. And the young lady's heifer that rounds out the class did not want to cooperate, and that takes away from her. But a neat, compact, good-looking kind of a heifer there to round it out. Congratulations.
Okay, so these two on your screen will be joined by the first and second purple from the first group of breeding heifers. We'll determine a champion and a reserve.
In Group 2 of Stalker Beater heifers, purples went to Jalen Young, Maya Copley. Blues went to Trip Oxford, Jack Barron, Kate Barron.
Get them back out here. You know, we've got our two class winners and our seconds, and I think, you know, all four of them are really nice cattle. They come out here. They got some shape to them. They're cattle that, you know, have a little more belly and body at a young age, like we talked about. The young man's roan heifer, I really like the silhouette that she gives at a young age. And then we get over here to our black heifer. I think she's one that's bigger framed. You could change her from her hooks to her pins at times, but I think that's just part of not being ultra broke out here today. But two really nice heifers there for class winners. Our black and white heifer, again, like I talked about, if you could just get her to relax, I'd just like to see her just be a little smoother in the way she wants to tie together in her top line. Maybe not throw her front two around as much as she does, but a really nice heifer as well. And I think these kids need a round of applause. I'm going to go ahead and use the two heifers out of the last class. Congratulations to the young lady in the white shirt. She'll be our champion. Black and white heifer will be reserved. Congratulations.
Okay, so that means that your champion stocker feeder heifer was shown by Jalen Young. And your reserve champion, Copley. I apologize. I know that the announcer and myself are on different pages as far as one of us is correct on Miss Copley's name. He's saying Maya, I'm saying Mia. One of us has to be right.
Champion Stalker Feeder Heifer went to Jalen Young. Reserve champion Stalker Feeder Heifer went to Maya Copley. We'd also like to thank our sponsors for the banners. We'd like to thank Tumbleweed Cafe for the Champion Stalker Feeder Heifer banner. We'd also like to thank BD Life Sciences for sponsoring the Reserve Stalker Feeder Heifer banner.
Best group of 3 coming out right now.
Second call, Black Angus Heifers, yearling heifers calved August 1st to December 31st, 2023. Second call, Black Angus Heifers, yearling heifers.
So now we've got best of 3 stalker feeders. Mia Copley, Jalen Young, Brennan Barron, and Jack Barron all out there getting some help from their fellow 4-H'ers, showing their groups of 3.
Yearling heifers calved January 1st to April 30th, 2024.
Well, yesterday we started out or we finished up in the FFA show, or started out with a 5 of steers from the clubs, and we get back out here this morning. We do the pin of 3, and really a nice deal because, you know, it gets all the kids out here and you can kind of see the whole show all in one wad out here at the same time. And last night we talked about, you know, whether it was uniformity or what they won and what they could win, and think there's different things to put into it as far as judging it. But I think there's one group, you know, obviously that has a lot of the higher quality calves in it out here this morning, and I think there's another group that has some high quality calves in it that I think there's one in there that could be really, really good down the road. So with that being said, we'll have you guys our champion. You'll be reserve. You guys will be third, and you'll be fourth. Congratulations.
So Jalen Young with the champion group of 3 stocker feeders, and Mia Copley was the reserve champion. Or Maya, if you want to go by what the announcer is saying. Again, one of us is correct and the other one is wrong. If anyone knows and wants to tell me in the comments, I would appreciate it. I have a feeling that I'm the one that's wrong because nobody has corrected the announcer here over the loudspeakers, which usually, speaking as someone that's announced plenty of things over speakers, usually if you're saying something wrong, someone's going to come along and correct you. So if anyone knows, let me know. I'd appreciate it. So that puts a bow on the Stocker Feeder Show, Breeding Heifer Show coming your direction shortly. We'll step away for just a moment and get started with that very, very soon. Okay, with a short break, here we go. Breeding Heifer Show. Nate Coulterman will remain the judge for the Breeding Heifer Show. We had 2 in the program for this particular class, but there's just 1 entry here. This is Brecken Reinerson, showing his Black Angus heifer, calved August 1st through December 31st, 2023.
Really nice Angus heifer to start out with, a September heifer that I think, you know, in terms of where she's at from calving, I think is pretty much dead on. The young man does a nice job getting her out here, getting her presented. He's got her dressed real nice here this morning. A female that I think, you know, has a lot of attributes. I think one of them is just she's a good doing kind of cow. She's nice up to her front 1/3. She's really sound. Just an awful solid place to start. Congratulations.
We'll have 3 groups of Black Angus heifers. This next group was calved January 1st through April 30th, 2024.
1st to April 30th, 2024 to the arena, please.
Now they just did second call
First call, Black Angus
and are
Heifers,
getting
yearling
them
heifers,
here.
calved May 1st
They
to
just now
August
did second
31st,
call, so
2024.
might have a
First
little
call,
bit of a
all
delay
Black
before
Angus heifers, yearling
they
heifers,
come out.
calved May 1st to August 31st, 2024. From our stalker feeders, best of 3. Champion went to Jalen Young. Reserve champion went to Mia Copley. Blue went to Jack Barron and Brennan Barron.
Okay. This is a group of 6. Colt Christensen, Casey Nelson, Avery Ostran, Brexton Ostran, Olivia Ostran, and Braxton Reinierson all competing in this Black Angus heifer group, calved January 1st through April 30th, 2024. And then we'll have Addison Dalrymple competing as a single entry in a group calved May 1st through August 31st,
Second call,
2024.
Black Angus heifers, yearling heifers, calved May 1 to August 31st, 2024. Second call, Black Angus heifers, yearling heifers, calved May 1st to August 31st, 2024. First call, Charlet yearling heifers, calved August 1 to December 31st, 2023. First call, Charlet yearling heifers, calved August 1st to December 31st, 2023.
Okay, here comes this largest group of Black Angus heifers
Purple went to Brecken Reinierson.
coming in. Take a look at the schedule coming up yet today. Of course, this is the 4-H Breeding Heifer Show. Was scheduled to start at 9 o'clock. We're just a little slightly later than that, but not super late. Clover Kid Bucket Calf Parade will be up after this. You'll want to make sure you stick around for that. Junior Herd and then Best Group of 3 Beef. The 4-H and FFA Beef Fitting and Showing Contest is always popular. That is at 11 o'clock today. And then they'll transform the show ring. And we'll have 4-H Dairy Cattle Show followed by the FFA Dairy Cattle Show on one end of the show ring. On the other end, we'll have the 4-H Goat Show, followed by the FFA Goat Show. Also at 1 p.m., the 4-H Bucket Calf interview judging will take place, followed by the 4-H Bucket Calf Parade. We'll see how they kind of mesh that into the schedule when it comes to dairy and goats also going on. I'm not sure how they'll work that out. Our final day of streaming will be on Thursday night at 7 p.m. for the 4-H and FFA livestock sale here on the Custer County Fairgrounds. We'd love for you to join us for that as well. And don't forget, if you had tickets for the bullfighting, hopefully you didn't come out for that last night because it was, in fact, very rainy. Lots of thunder and lightning. They delayed that to tonight. Your tickets will be good for that. Again, this is our second group of Black Angus heifers, calved January 1st through April 30th of 2024. Thank you to Prott Irrigation and Adam Prott, supporters of the 4-H and FFA youth and the Custer County Fair. Whether it's a quick repair or a full upgrade, Ranke and Prott Irrigation stand behind every system they touch. And thank you as well to Pioneer Seed, Larry Leapart and Lacey Hopt in Anselmo, Monty Hermsmeyer and Sargent, and Mike and Justin Bailey in Ansley. Contact your local Pioneer dealer to see what Pioneer can do for your fields. And thank you to Big Jim's Bar in Oconto. If you haven't been to Oconto to try Big Jim's Pizza, make it your next destination. Some say the best pizza around can be found at Big Jim's in Oconto. Gotta say, I'm wearing gym shorts and a t-shirt up here today. And there's a maybe somewhere between 5 to 10 mile an hour breeze right at my back up here at the top of the stands. It's borderline chilly. Compared to yesterday, everyone was sweating and we had much less of a wind than we did the day before. I will certainly take it. Like Dave and I were saying on the Get Up and Go breakfast show this morning, wonderful opportunity for you folks to come out and check out the fairgrounds. The kids are going in for their bucket calf interviews. There's just a lot of movement out at the fairgrounds here this morning. It's nice and cool. Even though our high is only expected to be 74, it's chillier than that right now. It's just a great time to walk through the barns and everything before it gets too hot out. Perfect time to come out to the fair. Certainly during your lunch break would be a good time to come out to the fair today. Lots of delicious food options. They've got snow cones. They've got the Donut Envy truck is here. The United Methodist Men are up there They've got their breakfast going until 10 o'clock this morning, and then they'll switch to lunch and make a delicious burger. Of course, there's the chuck wagon as well, where you can get some delicious food here on the fairgrounds. Lots of good options for you. Come out and have a lunch break and walk around the fairgrounds. And say hi to me if you see me. Wearing my KBBN hat, I'll be walking around. And always feel free to say hi in the comments as well. I love seeing comments come up and chatting with you, making a little bit of small talk. West Africa is the furthest someone was watching from so far this year. Had viewers from the Panhandle of Oklahoma yesterday. Several viewers from Kearney yesterday. Let us know who you're cheering on and who you're watching for here today. Glad to have you all along.
Sword. I think, we start out with two really nice heifers. There's some give and take between the two. One's a little longer than the other. One's maybe a little more balanced than the other. But I went ahead and used the young man's heifer. I think she's just super complete. I love the way this heifer comes out here and grabs your attention. She's stout enough. You get behind her. She's really sound on the move. Just an awful, awful good, complete kind of a heifer to start out. Young lady's heifer in second, I think one that, excels in terms of length. She's a heifer that's dead level down her top when she goes. She's a female that if you could just soften her up and give her that extra sweep to her rib cage like we see in our class winner, this one's dead on. But I think a really, really nice heifer in a really, really tough class. Young lady's heifer in third. I thought when she came out here, I really liked her size and moderation, the way she's built, the way she travels. She's a female that as you get to analyzing her, you'd like to just lean her up ever so slightly. As you can see, she's pushing a little chest there in the front end and just getting a little waisty underneath with a little extra navel. Young man's heifer in fourth. I think a really complete kind of a heifer that, just gets put there because of her completeness and her overall look. She's a female that maybe doesn't wow you on the go like we see in our first three in the class, but a really, really nice heifer in her own right. Young lady's heifer coming next, I think, was one that maybe wants to get just a little tight in her movement, tight and restricted. A female that certainly has enough body and length like we saw in the cattle ahead of her. I'd just like to loosen her up to get her placed any higher. And we wind up the class with a heifer that comes to us a little greener in her type and kind. I think she's a good female that rounds out an awful competitive class. Congratulations.
So first purple went to Braxton Reinierson. Second purple to Casey Nelson. They'll be coming back to compete against the other Black Angus heifers, but both of the other groups they'll be competing against are single entry groups, so we'll see how that all comes to be. Right now this is Addison Dalrymple representing the South Loop Club. It's her single entry Black Angus heifer, calved May 1st through August 31st, 2024. Stick around. Clover Kids Bucket Calf Parade is going to be coming up after the heifer show. Always a lot of fun to see that. Coming up yet in the heifer show after Black Angus, Charlet, commercial heifer, and then Hereford and pulled Hereford. And then we have one single entry in other breed. Then best group of three beef. That's always really fun because you see some different makeups and groups, everyone competing together. And then the fitting and showing contest, always a lot of fun too.
Really good single entry. I think one certainly deserving of some competition. She's a heifer that, again, demands your attention when she comes out here. she's really fresh in her overall makeup. I like that about her. She's extended through her front 1/3, a heifer that gets around the ring pretty well. We'll get her back out here for champion, but congratulations.
Okay, so a purple for Addison, and she'll stay out here and compete against Braxton Reinierson, who was
In Group
second,
2
or
of Black
excuse
Angus
me,
heifer.
was in that second group. Second purple in that group went to Casey Nelson. And then we had the single entry in the August 1st to December 31st, 2023 group. That was Brecken Reinierson. So first purples out here competing, Addison Dalrymple, Braxton Reinierson, and Brecken Reinierson. 1 second purple will come out, I believe. That would be Casey Nelson. If you want to hear some Clover Kids Bucket Calf Parade interviews, I'm sure that's continuing to go on KC and I Pure Country. I see Dave across the way conducting those interviews with those kids getting ready to do their bucket calf interviews. Interviews will continue to be played on KC and I Pure Country as we continue through the rest of the Custer County Fair today. Dozens of interviews we conducted again this year, thanks to the wonderful sponsors you see at the top right-hand side of your screen, in addition to radio-only sponsors. Thank you to each and every sponsor of the Custer County Fair 2025. We're able to put in a lot of hours and use a lot of equipment to pull off all of that coverage because of your sponsorship. Thank you very much. Here we go. Time to determine a champion and reserve champion Black Angus heifer. We did have multiple purples from that second group. I believe that's why we see 5 heifers out there.
Second call, Charlotte Yearling Heifers, capped January 1st to April 30th, 2024. Second call, Charlotte Yearling Heifers, capped January 1 to April.
Now, I am far from an expert. I only have experience looking at cattle from sitting up here for the start to finish of the Custer County Fair every single day for the last 5 years, but this looks like it could be a pretty difficult decision for the judge.
Good division again here. Let's give these kids a round of applause. We get them back out here. You certainly can't be disappointed when you get to see a set of cattle like this, you know, here early in the day, and just a ton of quality from one end to the other in all the classes. Not a lot of numbers, but certainly just a lot of depth overall. There's some give and take up front. I think there's different types and kinds in terms of the cattle, but I think, you know, what it boils down to is just the basics and having the heifer that you feel is probably the most comfortable at the ground and just a heifer that's good all the way around. Be our young man out of class 2. You'll be our champion. Congratulations.
That is Braxton Reinierson.
I feel like it gets a little closer for reserve. You know, there's several different types and kinds of heifers out here. The heifer out of the last class, I think, very striking, and it's one that you have to look at for reserve contention just because of her completeness as well. We've got a big senior yearling, and we've got 2 other heifers that are awful nice in their own right as well. But it just kind of boils down to personal preference. And I think that June heifer does want to get just a little rigid out of her hock at times, but an awful good complete kind of a heifer. She'll be our reserve. Congratulations.
Addison Dalrymple will be the reserve.
We have to pick a top 5 here, so that's why we brought you all back out. But I think as you study the cattle and you get to see them, you get to see them walk for 5 seconds, and that's just part of it. But that's part of judging them. I think there's a heifer that maybe doesn't quite fit the profile that we saw in the first 2 cattle, but I think she's sure sound enough. And got enough body for me today, just really smooth from one end to the other. But I like the way she handles her rear 2 a little neater than the heifer that'll be 4th. Young lady, you'll be our 3rd. Young man, you'll be 4th. Kiddo, you'll be 5th. Congratulations.
As you can see there, we've got some Charolais heifers being prepared to come in. We've got 2 groups here. Single entry in this first group from Jack Bartok, and then Otto Petrick and Macy Setta will be coming in with a group of 2 in that second group. Thank you to Moline Seed and Fence, supplying ranches and contractors across the state with quality fencing and feedlot supplies. Check out their location near Gothenburg, as well as their new location in Thedford. And thank you to Full Circle Irrigation for their support of 4-H and FFA youth at the Custer County Fair. Thanks Todd and Darlene Wardine with locations in Litchfield and Broken Bow. Full Circle Irrigation is your local Valley dealer. And thank you to Custer Public Power District, geographically the largest rural public power district in Nebraska. They serve over 8,000 square miles of territory, and we thank them for their support of Custer County Fair coverage. Jack Bartok out there with his Charolais heifer.
Just a single entry starting out here. Young man brings us a big, stout, sound Charolais heifer. I think she's one that, you really have to appreciate her for the fluidity of her motion. She's a heifer. When you get behind her, you can see she's got plenty of power, and when you view her from the side, plenty of depth of body. Really a complete heifer for this young man. Gets a little longer toed here out here today, but I think a heifer that's just really complete and a good place to start. Congratulations.
Second call, commercial heifers, yearling heifers, calved January 1 to April 30th. Class
Krista, appreciate your comment.
commercial heifers, yearling heifers, calved January 1st to April 30th.
Mia Copley. All right, I'll stick with what I've been saying. Glad to hear I'm on the right side of that pronunciation.
Class 2, first call,
I will tell you, though,
yearling heifers, calved January 1st,
Brent is quite a dude.
class 2.
He's a cool guy, but I am not Brent. I did have somebody tell me the other day, they say, you guys sound pretty decently similar on the air. But no, I am Jeremy. Glad to have you along. Thank you for your comment. Appreciate that. radio announcers love to hear it confirmed that they're pronouncing someone's name correctly because we want to get those right. So we'd much rather know than not know. I know sometimes people are shy about helping out. Appreciate that. Here's those two entries in group number 2, Otto Petrick and Macy Setta out there. Second group of Charlet Heifers. Calved January 1st through April 30th, 2024.
I believe these two as they came in. I think the young lady's heifer just excels in terms of where she's at in her maturity. A really nice female that when she gets out and goes, she just kind of floats. A female that I will say you guys got up early this morning and started scrubbing because she comes out here bright white. Really grabs your attention and just a super complete, good kind of a heifer to start out. Young man's heifer maybe not wanting to cooperate or give us the look that she maybe can. I think she's a big-boned female as well. I think she's one that, could use a shot of that body, just comes to us a little green, maybe doesn't quite have the groceries put to her like the heifer that wins the class, but two really nice heifers out here in our second class of Charlets. Congratulations.
Okay, so we'll bring Jack Bartok back in. And we'll determine a champion and reserve champion Charlet heifer. There he is.
In the second group of Charlet yearling heifers, purple went to Macy Setta. Blue went to Otto Petrick.
Really nice trio Charlie's out here to pick from this morning. I think, not a lot of numbers, but certainly a lot of quality. Again, from top to bottom, our two class winners, I think, they're complete, totally different ends of the spectrum. The young man brings us a big body, deep-sided heifer that maybe gives up a little bit in terms of muscle shape that we see in a heifer that comes out of the second class. Our second class heifer maybe isn't as good in her lines as we see in a heifer that wins the first class, but I think a heifer that's maybe a little more comfortable footed, a little more acceptable in the size of her feet here today. She'll be our champion. Congratulations. Bring in our second out of that class and evaluate her. I think she just gives up a little bit in terms of the body and maturity and where we're at with the heifer that wins the first class. Young man out of the first class, she'll be our reserve. Congratulations.
So Macy Sena is the champion, and the reserve champion is shown by Jack Bartok. That'll move us on to commercial heifers, calved January 1st through April 30th, 2024. That's coming up.
Champion Charlie Heifer went to Macy Sena. Reserve champion Charlie Heifer went to Jack Bartok. Second call, commercial heifers, yearling heifers, calved January 1st to April 30th, class 2. Second call, commercial heifers, yearling heifers, calved January 1st to April 30th, class 2. First call, commercial heifers.
Okay, so I'm unsure what we've got going on here, if I'm completely honest. They just did second call for that commercial heifer group I thought was going to be next. We've got a single entry here, but I'm not seeing what this could be. So I guess we'll all find out together.
Single entry out here again, and again, really a good, complete kind of a female. You get off and look at her from the side. You can see she's got plenty of depth of body. She's one that gives you a nice look up through her front 1/3, maybe pushing the envelope in terms of condition. It's hard to pull that off on a good senior yearling. Maybe like to just bring her together as she travels off her rear two, but an awful good individual here to start out. Congratulations.
So I think that's Braxton Reinierson. The ear tag on the heifer he's got is the same one listed with that Black Angus heifer group that he didn't appear in earlier but was in the program. So I'm not completely sure on how that will work out categorically. We'll see what they announce.
In the first group of commercial heifers, purple went to Braxton Reinierson.
So they're just going to call that the first group of commercial heifers. Now we'll get into the first group that's listed in the program. And you just saw them go across your screen moments ago, and they're set up on the top of the show ring. Brennan Barron, Kate Barron, Cordell Christian, Cohen Dalrymple, Weston Delaney, Addison Stump, and Otto Petrick all out there.
Really a competitive class here again. I think the kids brought out some really nice heifers. There's some differences from top to bottom, obviously, but I think a logical place to start. The young man's heifer, I think, just presents the most good out here this morning, and a female that you really have to like for just her overall design. She's one that, has that extra look when you get off of her. You can see she's big and bold in the middle of her body. She's one that gives you a nice look up front. Change that heifer, you'd like to tone her down in her joint structure just a little bit, maybe free her up, but I think a big bone, very deserving individual to start out. Young man's yellow heifer, I think, comes to us. She's fresh in her condition. She's one that, has some extra length. She maintains a neat front end. Just a really complete heifer there in second also. We get into old Yeller here. She's maybe not one to cooperate at times. And the young man, when he gets her set up, you really have to like her. She's a big-bodied, big-featured individual. She's one that, when you ask her to go, you'd like to square her up the way she travels out of her hock. But I think an awful good heifer there in third as well. Just maybe not giving us that look today. Young lady's heifer in fourth, I thought was one that was just really smooth in the way she transitioned from her shoulder into her forerib. She's one that's compact and moderate in her size. I like that about her. I think her doability is really good. She'll be around after she calves. The young man's heifer following after her is one that maybe gets a little peaked in terms of her bone work in comparison to some of the cattle in the class, but a really nice heifer. Young lady's little black heifer here, I think, is one. She's got a little bit of an injury up on her front forearm, and I think that takes away from her structure as she comes out of her front end. A female that's good in her lines. She's good from her hooks to her pins. Just like to see her a little more relaxed and comfortable at the ground at times. A heifer that has enough body in comparison to her skeleton. Just like to see her free up and move a little easier. Wind up the class with a green heifer that maybe hasn't had some of the groceries that we saw in the other cattle. Really long-sided heifer, good hipped heifer. Good way to end up the class. Congratulations.
In Class 1 of commercial yearling heifers, purple went to Cohen Dalrymple, Brennan Barron, Otto Petrick. Blues went to Kate Barron, Weston Delaney, Addison Stump, Cordell Kristen. Second call, commercial heifers, yearling heifers, calved May 1 to August 31st, 2024. Second call, commercial heifers, yearling heifers, calved May 1st to August 31st, 2024. First call, Hereford and Polled Hereford yearling heifers, calved January 1st to April 31st. First call, Hereford and Polled Hereford yearling heifers.
So this is Class 2. William Delaney, James Barron, Mia Copley, Baron Rosentrader, Heston Scott, and Trip Oxford all out there. We have one more group in commercial heifers. That'll be Allie Smith, a single entry coming up after this.
Really good class of heifers here. Young man's white heifer, you're going to start out. Go ahead, head this way, buddy. A heifer, you know, she comes out in the ring. Is there enough of her? Maybe, maybe not. But I think a heifer that, you know, just has the least uncoordinated problems that we see in some of the other cattle. I think she's a heifer that's got enough body. She's a heifer that maybe has enough muscle. Just like to broaden her up a little bit, but a heifer that I think is really sound, gives you a nice look. The young man's got her presented out here this morning. Roan heifer coming at us next, I think is one that maybe comes out here. I don't know if she's too full or if she just doesn't feel right in her top, but a heifer that wants to get up in her back, wants to duck her pins when she moves, but a big body, genuine kind of a heifer that's good in terms of her condition. I'd just like to have her relax for us out here today to place any higher. Neat fronted heifer, I think will make an awesome cow for the young man. Next heifer in line, I'd like to square her up on her rear two legs, but I think a female that deserves to be third just in terms of where she's at in her maturity and the depth of body and the way she handles herself when she goes. A heifer that's really nice up through her front 1/3, really smooth the way she transitions from one end to the other. Just a good, complete kind of a heifer there in third. Give that extra body to our fourth place heifer. That heifer moves up a notch. I think she's one that comes to us. She's tremendously long. She's a female that gives you a nice look when you get off of her. Just like to see more of her at times. I think just have that extra depth that we see in some of the other cattle out here. But a really good, complete kind of a heifer in her own right. Young man's heifer coming next. I thought maybe just gets a little rigid and coarse in the way she travels on her rear too, but I think a really good body, good kind of a heifer there for the young man. And I'd just like to free up our last heifer here, just give her a little more ease of movement, but a heifer that's really nice in terms of her maturity and size. I think will go on and make a nice cow also. Congratulations.
So first purple in that group went to Heston Scott. Second purple, Trip Oxford. Here comes Allie Smith with her single entry, calved May 1st to August 31st, 2024.
Single entry to wind up here, and I think, you know, one certainly deserving of some competition. And she's a female that's really typey in her kind. I think she's really compact, moderate built female that I think is sure sound enough. Just maybe like to just smooth her up in terms of joint work, but I think one that'll get back out here in the drive and give them some competition. Congratulations.
In Class 2 of commercial yearling heifers, purple went to Heston Scott. Trip Oxford. Blue went to Baron Rosentrader, William Delaney, James Barron, Mia Copley. In Group 3, purple went to Allie Smith. As an announcement, after the naming of the grand champion and reserve champion breeding heifer, we'll do the Clover Kids. After champion and reserve champion breeding heifer, we will do the Clover Kids, which will be followed by best group of 3 beef and fitting and showing. Again, after the champion and reserve champion breeding heifer, we will do Clover Kids, followed by best group of 3 beef and fitting and showing.
So here's our commercial heifer championship drive.
Hereford yearling heifers. Second call, Hereford and Polled heifer yearling heifers. First call, other breeding registered yearling heifers. First call, other breed registered yearling heifers.
And I think, it's pretty typical. The commercial breed is kind of where you jam through 2 or 3 breeds together and see what you get. And when you get out here, you maybe lose a little bit in terms of consistency, but I sure think the front end of these heifers have an awful lot of quality about them. There's some differences in types and kinds and breeding and whatnot goes into it, but I think all 4 of the class winners and the seconds are all very, very good representatives of the commercial industry. They're all complete cattle. They're cattle that are easy to look at. They're cattle that when you ask them to travel, they do so relatively handily. They're cattle that have some meat and muscle. Sometimes that meat and muscle can be a downside if you're a breeding cattle person, or it can be an upside if you like them a little clubbier built. We've sure got that out here as well. In this particular division, we have to pick 4 of them. I'll go around and select your champion through number 4, and congratulations to these kids. Give them a big round of applause.
Braxton Rynearson was your champion. Allie Smith, the reserve. Now he'll place 3rd and 4th. A young man will come in 3rd. That is Cohen Dalrymple. And 4th place will be that young man. That is Brennan Barron. Congratulations, a champion commercial heifer drive is done.
Second call, other breed registered yearling heifers. Second call, other breed registered yearling heifers. In commercial heifers, champion commercial heifer went to Braxton Rynearson. Reserve champion commercial heifer went to Allie Smith. We'd also like to thank our sponsor of the champion commercial heifer banner, High Street Insurance and Financial Services of Callaway. We'd also like to thank our top 4 sponsor of Breed Money, which is Better Beef Genetics, Brent and Joyce Petrie.
Here comes your first group and only group of Hereford and Polled Herefords. We've got Ava Loy, Avery Ostrand, Olivia Ostrand, Emma Stahlbaumer, Kirby Viter with 2 entries, and Kagan Watoon with an entry.
Okay, you gotta try one of them.
And we'll choose a champion and a reserve champion here immediately. This is the only group of Herefords and pulled Hereford. Emma Stahlbaumer, champion.
An outstanding individual here to start out with. I think this heifer comes to us, she's really fresh, and I like that about her. She gives you a neat look up front. She's a female that when you ask her to go, she handles herself as most comfortably as anything out in the ring, and I really like that about her. Young lady's heifer in second, the dark red heifer. I really like her in terms of her balance and her look. She's a long, extended heifer. She's a female that just comes out just a little higher than some of the other ones in the class, but I think this heifer travels sure good enough out here today to be our reserve. Congratulations to her. Young lady's heifer in third. When she first came in the ring, I love the bone work. I love her feet. I love the way she's kind of put together at the ground. Just like to change her the way she comes out of her hawk. She's a heifer that resembles our class winner. Just like to see her move a little freer and easier at times, but a really nice heifer in her own right. Young lady's heifer in fourth, I think one that comes to us, starting to push a little extra condition in her front 1/3. Maybe just like to pretty her up ever so slightly through her neck and chest, but a female that's sure big bodied, bold sprung and sound moving, and I really like that about her. Young lady's heifer coming next, I think, is one that gives up a little bit in terms of muscle and overall dimension that we see in the cattle ahead of her. She's a neat made kind of a heifer that gives you a good look from the side. Just like to see more of her as it carries on back. Young lady's heifer here, again, one of those that's pushing a little condition. Like to change this female as she travels out of her hawk. She's a heifer that's big boned and just big featured all the way around, big hip, just like to free her up the way she travels there on her rear too. Wind up the class with a green heifer, a heifer that, you have to appreciate her length. You have to appreciate the length of hip that heifer possesses there to wind up the class. Just a female you'd like to see a little further along in terms of maturity to compete any higher today, but really a nice class of Hereford females.
So the young lady that was showing the reserve champion didn't have a back tag that was listed in the program, which would lead me to believe that's one of Kirby's heifers. We'll listen to see if we can get that confirmed. Emma Stahlbaumer was the champion, though. Got to bring in our single entry of other breed registered yearling heifers. Speckled Park, it says here in the program. Rexton Myers of Burr Oak.
Just a single entry, and a really useful kind of a heifer. I think one that will go out, raise a calf, get pounds on the calf down in the future, but a female that'll be good looking out in the pasture for the young man. We'll get her back out here for her champion drive. Congratulations, buddy.
Speaking of champion drive, it is that time. Breeding heifer, champion drive. First, we'll get confirmed that Hereford and Pole Hereford standing.
In Hereford yearling heifers, champion went to Emma Stahlbaumer. Reserve champion went to Kirby Bitter. Purple went to Kagan Mattoon. Blue went to Kirby Bitter. Avery Ostrand, Olivia Ostrand, and Ava Loy. We'd like to thank our sponsors today, Ritter Hereford Ranch, for the Champion Hereford banner today.
You see all of the Champion Hereford, or excuse me, Champion Heifers gathering there. And they'll be coming in here shortly. A little bit of rain coming down. Must look like more of a rain, but feel more like a mist, just based on, there's just people standing out in it. Don't seem too bothered by it, but you know how it can be with rain when you catch it against like the backdrop of a barn or something else dark. It kind of looks heavier than it actually is. I think it's that kind of case here, but a little bit more moisture coming.
With this champion Black Angus heifer is Braxton Rainierson. With the reserve champion Black Angus heifer is Addison Dalrymple. Champion Charlet heifer entering the arena today is with Macy Setta. Reserve champion Charlet heifer is Jack Bartok. Champion commercial heifer is Braxton Rainierson. Reserve champion commercial heifer is Allie Smith. Champion Hereford heifer today is shown by Emma Stahlbummer. Reserve champion Hereford heifer is Kirby Bitter. Champion other breeding registered yearling heifer is Rexton Myers.
Here we go. It's overall championship time. Sorry about that. I'm a little confused on my buttons for a second. Again, your reserve champions are to the top. Your champions in each category are on the bottom.
Kids, and we'll go ahead and give them a round of applause for bringing these back out here. In comparison to the steer show to this morning, there's not as many numbers, but certainly a lot of quality. Again, I wouldn't expect any less coming to the Custer County First off, thank you for having me out here. It's a really good crew. One thing we need to do, let's give our ringmen a big round of applause. They've been here for 2 days and have really kept things moving for us, and that's really nice to have. You don't know what you have till they're not there, and I really appreciate these guys being out here, kind of keeping me in line. The cattle, I think, speak for themselves. I think from the Angus to the speckled, I think are all very, very good representations of their breed. There's high quality cattle. I think national level cattle out here in our little show this morning, and really that's my hats off to you guys and everybody family wise and everything that got them to this point. I think there's a lot that goes into this, and everybody realizes that. At least this morning we had a little break in the weather, and I think that's made these cattle look even that much better. So I think the train threw me off. I didn't mean to rhyme there, but really a solid set, a great set of kids. And I know, sometimes you get to these deals and they can be pretty repetitive as far as what the judge is saying or the judge's comments. But it's been a great 2 days for me. We'll go out and get you a champion in reserve. Congratulations, Custer County.
As the judge picks grand champion and reserve champion.
Okay, so we'll first see champion be Mr. Reinierson. Braxton Reinierson, the champion Black Angus heifer, is now overall. I believe that was the reserve from Black Angus heifers. Addison Dalrymple is the reserve champion overall. I'll make sure that wasn't Brecken Reinierson now that I'm looking at. I think Braxton was the one who competed later and had the champion commercial heifer. Just want to make sure I've got that right. We'll hear it.
Braxton Reinierson. Reserve champion breeding heifer was Addison Dalrymple.
Okay, so we had it right. It was Braxton Reinierson. Congratulations to him. Addison was the reserve champion. Look at those reflected on the results down below. So that'll bring a close to the 4-H Heifer Show.
Well, good morning, everyone. We have our Clover Kid bucket calves. You want to judge all these, Nate? We already interview judged all these. So we have 26 Clover Kid bucket calves that interviewed. We had Atlin Reynolds. She used to be Atlin Wattoon and was a 4-H'er and showed here, so we appreciate her coming back and being the judge for us. Clover Kids are 6 and 7 years old. I'm going to go through the list here for you. We have Barrett Babcock, Tannen Bader, Eva Bartok, Jude Barons, Hayes Barron, Quinn Blake, Cash Bailey, Sage Bailey, Grayson Sharon, Jet Connor, Retley Cookson, Lee Delaney, Jewel Eberly, Addie Ewalt, Jace Holcomb, Kira Jacobson, Merrick Ostrand, Ava Rosentrader, Lenny Rosentrader, Merrick Scott, Allison Shaw, Barrett Smith, Maggie Sterner, Ricky Viter, Caden Weinman, and Riata Thomas. So that is the list of all of our Clover Kid Bucket Calf participants. And like I said, they're 6 and 7 years old. And we had calf names all the way from Popsicle to Chocolate Chip to Brownie to Peterbilt to Buttercup to Tony the Tiger. So we had all kinds of bucket calf names this year. And you can see we have a range of sizes of bucket calves. So whenever
Well, I just want to say thank you guys for allowing me to talk to your kids today. They all did a really, really good job. I was really impressed that with some of the questions that I asked that the kids actually knew. You know, being 6 years old, that's not common to know some of those things. And then I also want to say thank you to all the parents who helped them and get them to this point, because, you know, this is where it starts. If they enjoy this now, they'll continue to go on. And, you know, we have a big county fair for a reason. It's all the families and the people behind it. And so, you know, I just appreciate seeing the next level come in and want to do this and continue to do this. So good job, kids.
Do you have a preference where you start? All right, she will hand you your participation 4-H ribbon, and you can go ahead and leave the ring. Where do you want them to leave, guys? This side or over here? You can just come back. Let's have you leave over here. Have you walk over this way, and we'll have you come out the gate. Perfect. We're going to bring some calves through here.
Great, so another awesome bucket calf parade. Seeing the future of 4-H right here. All right, a little bit of a break here. Taking a look at our schedule, we started it with the 4-H Stalker Feeder Show. No FFA entries this year, so they went straight to 4-H. 9 a.m. we started the Breeding Heifers about 10 minutes later, so somewhere around there. Clover Kid Bucket Calf Parade, you just saw that happen. Junior Herd and Best Group of 3 Beef are coming up here soon. They're kind of doing some gathering over there right now, so we'll just go ahead and put a little bit of the, we'll put the break graphic up here, and we'll come back when that gets started here shortly. Best group of 3 beef out there right now. We got 5 different groups out there. Four Corners, Sandhills Critters, Ansley Junior Livestock, and South Loop 4-H all represented out there. Always kind of confusing. There's 12 names listed under best group of 3 beef. But we've got 5 groups of 3 beef out there. So that would mean we need 15 names. And they're not split up by 4-H group necessarily. They're listed by name. So this one always gets me a little bit. Kind of the same with the fitting and showing.
Well, probably one of the tougher competitions you'll have to do out here is this pen of 3, like we talked about earlier. You know, you can weigh it a lot of different ways. I guess, you know, when you get them back out here, just think of the value of these cattle and what the industry is doing right now as far as pricing. Just what this little ring right here is worth right at the moment. It's pretty impressive. Let's give these kids a round of applause. I guess, you know, we talked earlier about using the accolades that the cattle had earlier on in the show ring. They come back out here as a club and represent their club. I guess for me, in this particular group, it's probably... I guess the scale that I'm going to go with here is just a little more consistency from one end to the other in the class. And there's 2 really good groups of cattle out here. All these cattle are good, but just as far as a very impressive group, I think there's a pair of groups that stick out. I think this group right here with the good steer and the Mojo heifer, I think are all really nice representation. I think those cattle fit together. They're uniform. But I think there's a group of heifers that comes out here and takes the cake. These 3 little guys over here, we're going to go ahead and make them champion, and y'all be reserved. Congratulations.
High fives all around for the champions right there. Reserve champions are from Sandhills Critters. I can tell that because I can see the back number of Casey Nelson. And Olivia Ostrand, I just saw her back tag. So Ansley Junior Livestock champion, Sandhill Critters reserve champion. This would be the reserve champion group right here. Okay, now everyone's going to start getting ready for the beef fitting and showing event. That is coming up. So we'll take a break here shortly. We'll see if we hear it confirm the group of 3 beef winners here shortly. While we've got a moment, want to thank our Purple Ribbon sponsors: Custer Public Power District, Full Circle Irrigation, Moline Seed and Fence, Big Jim's Bar in Oconto, Pioneer Seed of Anselmo, Sargent and Ansley, Prot Irrigation, Lashley Land and Recreational Brokers, Trotter Service and Fertilizer, Broken Bow, Custer County Ag Society, C&M Auto of Broken Bow, Nebraska State Bank, Healing Hearts and Families, Sargent Irrigation, and Central Nebraska Diesel. Thank you to all of them for helping bring you this broadcast all 4 days of the fair. Also, several of the sponsors you see scrolling on the top right-hand part of your screen helping out with our radio broadcast on KCNI Pure Country as well. We'll hear this one last announcement. That'll let us know what we're going to do here. And pretty soon we'll get underway with the fitting and showing show.
In best group of 3 beef, champion went to Olivia Ostrand. Reserve went to Casey Nelson. Purple went to Brexton Ostrand, Delaney Weinman, and Emmett Palmer. We will begin fitting and showing at 11:15. Please bring all of your utensils and fitting material to the arena. We will start fitting and showing at 11:15.
And welcome back, or actually continued coverage. You can watch everybody set up here. Dave Burney here with you now as Jeremy is on the mobile camera for the 2025 fitting and showing competition. It looks to be almost ready to go. There's 8 teams, and Jeremy has the mobile camera, so we're going to kind of stay with him most of the time. I've not been familiar with the setup here this year, so I'm thinking he probably will bring you the best coverage, and I can skip around a little bit and bring you some different views. Of course, this is really, really interesting because this is all about the grooming process and how they do it, and in this case, how well they do it. And I'm not sure of all the criteria, but they'll be judged on how the animal looks after X amount of time allowed to do so. So it's going to be fun to watch. Just stay with us here as Jeremy is giving you that mobile picture right now. More to come.
We got 15 minutes. We're going to groom that steer or heifer that you've got over there, and then you're going to show it in a showmanship style for the judge. And I guess we're off and running. 15 minutes. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, you heard Tyler Peters give everybody 15 minutes to get the job done. And Jeremy's giving you a view of different stations and the activities taking place there. And we'll see whether Jeremy can hold that camera for 15 minutes. He'll do his very best, and knowing Jeremy, he's going to give you some fantastic shots. This is the process that you'll see going on all the time if you come out to the Custer County Fair. They'll start this process on Sunday, actually, if you walk around Sunday after they check the livestock in, and they'll be using some of these same tools, washing the animals down, making sure they're clean, and start the process. And they have to practice this, not just for this competition, but to have that good look in the ring when they're under the inspection of the judge. You follow Jeremy there. He's looking at station 2, and they're working rapidly here. 15 minutes seems like a long time, but when you're going through all the steps that need to be taken to have the animal look at its very best, 15 minutes is not very long. If you walk around the fairgrounds and watch folks who are working on this process at other times, they'll meticulously take, I don't know how long, actually, a half hour to an hour, I would imagine, less than you would think maybe, as all the things they can do here. They spray, they buff, they clean, they curry. And as you can see, Jeremy is taking a look at 2. I don't believe the stations run in numerical order, so I think next over from 2 is 8. You've got the Ansley Junior Livestock 4 corners, Great Connectors, the Middle Loop 4-H, O'Connell 4-H, Sandhills Critters, and South Loop 4-H all competing today. And fantastic that these kids know exactly what they're supposed to do. I'm sure there's been practices for this, and I don't know, folks, if we realize how many hours a day that it takes to do what these kids are doing, to learn it. And then with all the other activities that young people have today, you know they love this, to be in this competition today. So they're very proud of their groups, the different clubs, and they're going to do their very best to represent them well. Jeremy's giving you a look there of a young lady who is on the go with some more of these sprays. I'm sure there's designated areas and jobs that each one of the members are to take care of. Buffing and spraying and currying, and yeah, they're working hard. 15 minutes will go pretty fast. Let's just give you a break from talking here and just watch the kids work. And Jeremy gave me instructions on the different views, but I don't know how you get a better view than what he's showing you individually for each station. He's showing you station 6 right now. And again, thanks to all our sponsors. As I watch the video and I see the names popping up in the right upper corner there, all the different sponsors who are making this audio and visual experience for you. And you can go back and look at this anytime if you have friends and relatives that you're telling this event about, the Custer County Fair. You can show them. And so you're welcome to use this over and over. And we actually see our numbers grow within, days after the fair is over, because a lot of people are here, don't have time to watch it, and they can go home afterwards, get some rest, and take a look, and then call their friends and relatives and say, hey, look and see what we're doing here. Look and see what the kids are doing here. And then, as you heard Tyler Peters mention, that once the 15 minutes is up, then they will show their animal just like they would in the ring under showmanship. I've talked to a lot of these young people in the past few days, and I can tell you that not one of the young people that we've spoke with in our radio interviews has been anything but very, very polite, friendly, and generous with their time, even as busy as they are most of the time. They're just great kids, and I think that speaks to the parents and, of course, 4-H and also FFA. It's a great line of communication between young people and adults, and also teaching responsibilities for the young people, and giving them something to do that they really love, what they like. These kids are all here because they love this. And also, there are some kids who aren't off farms and ranches who join 4-H, and then they get this experience here. And some of them go into agriculture because they got involved. Some of them go into all sorts of different career opportunities later in their 4-H career and FFA career because of maybe a spark they got along the way. Teamwork essential here. The judge is watching them as they work. And the judge is Nate Coulterman, very nice gentleman. We spoke with him yesterday on a radio interview. Now, he was sweating yesterday. It was hot, and I'm sure he's enjoying this weather today. We all are. And all of these animals here, as you can see, very, very calm. This is probably something I would think they would enjoy, and they're very, very, very calm. They always have water or feed in front of them, and make sure they have that in most cases. I noticed down at the far end, they have not seen the need to put any water or feed down, and the steer is doing just great. So far, Jeremy's arm is holding up. I don't know if I could do that 15 minutes holding a camera with one arm, with one hand, but he's doing great. I hope you're enjoying the pictures, the video. Earlier, you saw the calf parade, the Clover calf parade. And the announcer says 7 minutes, so just about halfway done with the time allotted here. I should have mentioned to Jeremy I could go to another visual screen to give his arm a rest, but if you folks know Jeremy, he will take it up a level. He always likes to do the best job that he can, and therefore best job that we can do. And I imagine that areas get combed more than once with different kids doing different areas and crossing over into their paths, but they want these animals to look as good as they can at the end of 15 minutes. Guessing we're down somewhere around 5 minutes left. Yeah. Oh, exactly 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Hey, there's a little sunshine coming out. If you're just joining us, we had rain on Tuesday evening, about 78, 80 hundredths right in there. I think the airport had 84 or 87. We had 78. Talked to some producers this morning here on this Wednesday morning that said they got about the same, in some cases a little more than that, an inch or so. And without the hard stuff, for the most part, I didn't hear anything about too much hail. And when you get to the fair and the farmers and ranchers get together and sit on the table, around the table and talk a little bit, you're going to get some weather talk. And certainly this year, for those of you who don't live here, somewhere in May, everybody's chins were dropped. We thought, oh, we're going to have an awful growing season. It was dry, very, very dry, hadn't gotten any rains. And we struggled through the summer before, and then the rains turned on, and they've been very timely. And some of the dryland crops look great. We're knocking on wood that they don't get a setback with a long August of hot, dry weather or stormy weather. But right now, the dryland crops look excellent. Hay crops have been great. So even with prices that could be better, when you can get free water from Mother Nature, it makes all the difference. And down below me, a group had a little spill with their water bucket, and so they have a little bit of mud there that was caused from the spill. I'm sure they're going to walk around that so they don't get any mud, any wet soil on their steer. And Jeremy continues to give you great shots up close of the different teams performing. Again, Ansley Junior Livestock, Four Corners, Great Connections, Middle Loop 4-H, Oconto 4-H, Sandhills Critters, and South Loop represented here with 8 different stations. Must be getting down around 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes left. I'll kind of see if I can watch Tyler and see if he's going to give him a minute out call, something like that. So I would imagine we're seeing the finishing touches here in the last couple minutes. Doesn't seem to be any panic with any of the teams here today. Moving briskly, but within their system. All right, Tyler says 2 minutes, 2 minutes to go. Should be approaching a minute left. And we'll see. I think everybody will be finishing up just right. Good kids out there, good competitors, doing what they love. Judge Nate Colderman looking things over here in the final seconds, filling out information on his clipboard. Jeremy's getting some last looks for you here up close. All right, time is up. All the competitors will need to now quit their jobs, start bringing their animals out of the stations, and now they'll go into the showman side of things. It's hard to beat Jeremy's angles here. And again, while I'm thinking about it, please notice the advertisers up in the upper right-hand corner of the video stream. They're making this happen. We're able to facilitate it with our crew and our cameras, but they're helping us make it work. We appreciate it. All right, let's see if we can give you some other quick angles here. There's a view of most of the ring. We'll go back to Jeremy. He's walking down through the middle here. There's the judge looking things over. Now they're going to want to get these steers and heifers centered just right, get their legs just right, their heads in certain position, the right position up tilted just a little bit. Jeremy's walking along with the judge. He's actually looking at this side, our camera side, but he's walking down through the middle just as the judge is doing, looking at each animal. How did it come out? How's it look? And also the actual showmanship side of it. What I like about the judges that we've seen here over the years is that they're not afraid to make comments to the kids, ask questions from the kids, you know, have them answer those questions if they can, if they're curious about something, and they just communicate with the people that are competing, and I think it makes all the difference. And there hasn't been any judges that I can think of well, I've been coming out here for a number of years. I don't remember any judge that was scaring the kids at all. They always make them feel comfortable.
Sponsors of fitting and grooming contest. We'd like to recognize the four halters for the first team. Those are donated by Vet Care, Kim Watoon Stum, Chase Kristen Memorial, High Street Insurance, and Financial Services Broken Row. The first team will also be getting 4 lead straps. Those are donated by Stallbomber Farms. Lastly, the first team will get 4 tumblers. Those are donated by Dave and Evelyn Kristen as part of the Chase Kristen Memorial. Fitting and grooming contest second team members will get 4 Scotch cones. These are donated by Brett and Michelle Miller family, Shirkey Sky Agency, and Helmont Shorthorns. Thank you to all the sponsors.
Jeremy's giving you a good look down the line there. And I'll give you another view here with our switcher of the judge right in the middle with all the showmen around him. He's taking a closer look here. Again, our competitors today: Ansley Junior Livestock, Four Corners, Great Connections, Middle Loop 4-H, Oconto 4-H, Sandhills Outfitters, and the South Loop 4-H clubs, all here in this fitting and showing competition. Takes a little time to write down all the information, and that just shows you too that he's being very, very deliberate in getting the information that he needs to do the best he can to have that proper pick. This is kind of nice in a lot of ways, but one of the ways that it's a real positive is that the kids get together and work together in this particular event. And so often they're just them and their animal out in the ring. And this way they have that a little bit more feeling of team support. Jeremy has his camera a little lower now than it was when he started, but he's still steady as a rock, giving you great views of the different competitors. Still doing their job just like they would if they were in showmanship, in regular competition for show.
Okay, what a good competition. What a great way to wind up the cattle show, coming out here and dressing your calf for the fitting contest. First off, everybody worked great as a team. Let's go ahead and give all these kids a round of applause for that. You know, obviously there's some different degrees and some different variables that go into it. I thought all the teams out here, you know, everybody was working together. It's not often that you can get, you know, 4 people around a calf that can work in the same direction at all times, and that's impressive. You know, this contest has become fairly popular across the United States. I've had the privilege of getting to do it at several junior nationals and fair levels, state fair levels, across the U.S. You know, and each one is challenging, but at the same time, you know, there's usually some that kind of surface to the top, no matter what level of experience they have. I think all the teams did really good. I kind of made some quick notes on each one, and we can run through that real quick. Our team 1 with the white steer here, obviously great job doing showmanship. Wasn't any problem there. I guess as far as critiquing your fit job, and I don't like to do that, but maybe don't use quite as much glue. kind of get a little wave to that back leg at times, and maybe go ahead and clip that tail head down just so it looks a little crisper. But awesome job. Not an easy calf to fit. His hair's a little wiry, but I think you guys did a great job there. Team 2, excellent tail. I put on here trim the tail head. I think you guys kind of accomplished that, but just take that little groove out of that top there, and same thing, just less is more sometimes on the glue. You want to be able to, at all times, no matter how much glue you put in there, just keep in mind for reference, you want to be able to comb through it. Just if you need to clean it out or if you need to fix something, just don't get it to the point of no return. Team 3. You guys did a great job, 100% effort. You had a good leader over here, and he was kind of telling you guys, let's go, let's go, let's go. I think this calf's presented really nice. The only thing I would tell you is on those front legs, maybe don't use quite as much glue or whatever made it shiny on that side over there. It's just got a little shine to it, but a really good job all in all. Team 4, same thing, tail head, maybe clip that down just a little bit, and I think you guys did do that and smoothed it up. Did a good job on his legs. Didn't use too much glue, got him put together. Showmanship's good. Really a solid team there. Team 5, you come in the ring with a calf with hair like that, that's kind of like having answers to the test. Really a good job. You didn't overdo it, but at the same time, you kept him pretty natural. You guys, got the foam in him and all that and was blowing that around and having a good time. That's what it's all about. But I think really a solid job here. Maybe as you guys go on, I would say to everybody, you can spend a little more time carving out that lower quarter, but that comes with experience. And if that calf's going to get showed somewhere else, I'd probably want to let somebody else do that the first time. But really a good job there. Team 6, I thought you guys did a good job working together. Your calf maybe didn't want to stand in the chute while he was eating out of the feed pan at times, but I think you guys did a really, really good job. Got some glue in him, got some paint in him, maybe shine those feet up just a little bit, but good job showing. Team 7, these guys worked really good together as a team. Again, they had a hairier calf that kind of makes a difference in the fitting contest, but at the same time, they didn't overdo it. They left those legs to where you can get back through them if you need to. The only thing I would say is maybe go ahead and ball that tail or just comb it out or, shape it a little bit, but really, really good job there with that 7 steer. And then Team 8, I thought you guys had an excellent tail. Did a nice job keeping everything natural. Spend a little more time again, just cutting some of that long hair off his rear down here in his quarter and kind of give him a little more punch down low. But really, really a good job. I scored the fitting portion at 70 points, and we didn't have a single team under 60, so that's really good. We're going to pick 2, correct? Well, I think the championship team, probably sticks out. Just as far as having a professional look, a calf that's trimmed up as tight as any of them out here, and one that again had a little extra as far as hair, and that doesn't hurt. But my Team 7, you'll be our champions out here today. Congratulations. I think it gets a little closer here for reserve. Let me look at my sheet real quick. Just like anything else, I think there's a 3-way tie. But we'll go ahead and I think, probably just from a standpoint of you're getting ready to go in the show ring and you have your calf presented to the way he needs to be out here today. I think there's several different ways you could go, and it really just boils down to, just the overall natural look of the animal and how you guys have him presented. But I'm going to go ahead and use these girls right here for reserve. Congratulations.
All righty, crowd. I think that's the last event for today. What I'd like to ask is everybody, let's give our judge a round of applause. He did really good in the last couple days.
All right, hope you enjoyed that. We will not discontinue our coverage here. We'll continue to stream here throughout the afternoon. We have a lot coming yet today. The 4-H show, dairy show, the bucket calf show. I think that's at 1 o'clock or so. So more to come. Just keep it right here. Keep streaming.
Okay, folks, we're on break until 1 o'clock. They're going to change the arena around. We'll come back and we'll bring you a new broadcast this afternoon. We'll talk to you then.